Sac Taylor Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa Public Television presents AAA Baseball. It's the Oklahoma City 89ers versus the Iowa Cubs. And a beautiful night for baseball, Little League night here at Sac Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. We take a look at the divisional standings in the American Association. In the East, it's Buffalo by 1 over Louisville. Nashville holding third, 4 games out, 6 1/2 out, the Indianapolis Indians. Over in the Western Division, now up by a total of 23 games, the Oklahoma City 89ers. 7 back, the Zephyrs from Denver. The Omaha Royals are 13 1/2 back, and then the Iowa Cubs, 18 games off of first place. I'm Mike Nolan, along with Randy Hundley. We'll have the play-by-play report, and Randy, we're going to get a look at clubs going in different directions in the 1985 season.
We sure are, Mike. The 89ers are leading the league because they have a well-balanced ball club. They have an awful lot of experience on that club, not only at AAA level, but at the big league level. And the Iowa Cubs have really been struggling. Their pitching has been failing them, and they've had a lot of injuries on the club.
Randy, as a former major league player and as a former minor league manager, you know the old baseball saying that good pitching will outrun good hitting any day of the week.
It happens wherever you go. 90% of the game is pitching, and the 89ers have it on their ball club.
We take a look at that starting staff for the Oklahoma City 89ers. Guzman, Schimpf, Sebra, and Boggs. And not listed are the two that have already moved up to the Rangers, Glenn Cook and Chris Welch. And 2 guys coming out of the bullpen, the stoppers, Dale Mahorchik and Bill Early.
Mahorchik has been doing an excellent job with 11 saves. Bill Early, I'm very familiar with, pitched for me here with the Iowa Cubs, and has done an excellent job out of the bullpen for them.
And a bit earlier, we had a chance to talk with Rangers minor league pitching instructor, Rusty Gerhardt. The big success story in the American Association in 1985 is the Oklahoma City 89ers. And here's the guy who handles that pitching staff that got that team out of the gates in such a big hurry and up in such a winning fashion. His name is Rusty Gerhardt. And Rusty, now you're in a situation nearing midseason. You've got to make some adjustments, don't you?
Well, that's not unusual, Mike. We lost some people to the Major League Club, Texas Rangers. Chris Welch did an outstanding job while he was with us. He's a control pitcher, and he went out there and pitched some games in under 2 hours, a lot of ground ball outs. The main reason our pitchers are pitching with such confidence is the defense that we've had this year. Dave Oliver, put together a pretty good club in spring training, and, most of the guys that came back were first year last year, so they're playing with much more confidence this year, and the defense has been outstanding.
And a lot of solid help from the bullpen.
Dale Mahorchik and Bill Early and Tommy Joe Schimpf, that first month and a half were outstanding. I mean, they were nearly perfect. And we went through a little dry spell the second week in June when we went on that road trip to Buffalo and Indianapolis. But, it only proved that they were human. And, we have been getting outstanding pitching. The guys have been working great. They're taking suggestions that I might offer, and of course the second time through the league is always tougher, and they're having to make some adjustments themselves, and I'm very happy to see that they were able to do that.
Keep your eye on this guy. He can pick it, and this guy can hit.
You're exactly right, Mike. He's not only an excellent hitter, but he's done a great job at third base.
Tough to get something through the left side of the infield. Jeff Kunkel working at shortstop alongside Buechele.
Excellent defensive player, and you're going to see him back in the big leagues very soon.
And the Cubs have their own threats as well. Dave Hostetler, a home run hitter.
Awesome power. Hit a long home run here last night in a losing cause.
And an exciting newcomer in the lineup, Pookie Bernstein.
He came from the Cleveland Indians for the Dan Roan and part of even the Rick Sutcliffe trade.
Well, it promises to be an outstanding ball game. The Oklahoma City 89ers against the Iowa Cubs. That's coming up next on Iowa Public Television. And we're just about set for game action here at Sac Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. Temperatures in the lower 80s and not much wind to contend with. And this one, game 4 of the 5-game series between the 89ers and the Cubs. And let's take a look at that batting order now for the Oklahoma City 89ers. Leading it off, Bob Brower in right field, Steve Buechele at third base, then George Wright in center field. Middle third of the order, Chucky Kennedy in left field. Mike Rubel bats 5th. He is the first baseman. Jeff Kunkel at shortstop bats 6th. The lower third of the order, Jim Mailer, the DH, Gino Petrali, the catcher, and Mike Jersley, the second baseman. Batter up, and we're just about set for game action. Out in the mound for the Iowa Cubs in this one, the left-hander Steve Engel. And Engel in his second start, looking for his second win off the Pittsfield roster, Double-A in the Eastern League. Batter up, and here's Bob Brower, right fielder. The left-hander, the windup. And right back at us. Strike one. What'd you say, Randy? Did you get somebody mad?
No, I don't know what's going on, Mike. These guys got an early start on us tonight.
Yes, they did. A look at the numbers on Bob Brower. Last year with the 89ers, a .225 hitter. He's picked up some on the bat. 0-1 pitch, and it's strike two. He's in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes. 89ers leading that Western Division by a fur piece. Boy, I'll tell you, till June 1st they were playing 800 ball. Went into a tailspin at home and in the early part of the road trip, but they're coming back now. They've won 2 of 3 starts against the Iowa Cubs.
What did they do, lose 2 in a row?
Yeah, 2 in a row. They set a record on themselves. Ball and 2 strikes to the batter. Engel working to Bob Brower. He'll be followed by Steve Buechele and then George Wright. Brower, one of the many 89ers performers who did minor league ball at Burlington with the Rangers there in the Midwest League. Wide, and now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, we got lucky with the weatherman, I'll tell you that, and close to a full house on hand for Little League night.
I hope these young Little Leaguers get to see a good ball game tonight, Mike.
On the way, here's the 2-2 pitch. One-hopping it. The second baseman, Owen, fires it on to first, and Hostetler on the receiving end. And you got one away. There's a look at manager Larry Cox, who manages to keep a pretty even temper through all of this. 11 losses to start the 85 season, but he stays in good humor, doesn't he, Randy?
Yes, he does. He was peeping at the cameraman there. He knew that the camera was on him, and he was just taking a little sneak.
Steve Buechele, who leads his ball club in just about every offensive category you can dig up. Goes from the right side, one away. Up and away, and it's ball 1. One away. We're just underway from Sec Taylor. Breaking ball, hooks in. And now a ball and a strike.
People don't realize how difficult it is for the pitcher to be in the sunlight and the hitter being in the shadows. It's tough to pick up that ball. You really have a tough time picking up the rotation with that type of hitting background.
He lifts it deep to the gap in left center. Backpedaling on the ball, that is Billy Hatcher. And Buechele will be the second out in the inning. George Wright, the batter.
Number 5, center fielder.
2 down against the left-hander Engel, who was a winner this past Monday night against Omaha. 4-3 in his initial start for the Iowa Cubs. George Wright, who has a lot of major league time with the Rangers, got off with the slow bat in early '85 and now down at the AAA level. Center fielder draws a strike. Last year a .243 hitter with the Rangers, and with the 89ers in 8 games hit .333. A ball and a strike. Makes his home in Oklahoma City. George Wright.
He was with the Rangers when Bobby Valentine took over the ball club, and I guess after a short period of time that he was there, decided that he needed more playing time at the AAA level. And here we see him playing against the Iowa Cubs tonight. Not long ago, he was playing in the American League.
Here's the 2-1. Couple balls, couple of strikes, and he can go for power. Last year drove in 48 runs at the major league level.
He hit a tremendous home run here last night to Mike. a 3-run homer over the scoreboard in right center field. I didn't realize he was a switch hitter until we see the left hand on the mound, and now he's hitting right-handed.
That was his 5th homer last night. Strike 3, and the side is retired. A 3-up, 3-down inning. George Wright goes around on that 2-2 pitch. First strikeout for Engel. No runs, no base hits. Nobody left down. There were no errors. We moved to the bottom half of the first inning here at Sec Taylor Stadium, and the score, the 89ers nothing. And the Cubs coming to bat. Tried the inside-outside swing. Got nowhere near it, Randy.
No, he did not. Steve Engel making a good pitch on him. I was watching George hit in batting practice right-handed, and I was not too impressed with his swing from the right side.
Right-hander going, Jose Guzman, who one-hit the Iowa Cubs earlier on this season. And he is leading the league in victories, actually tied in that spot with 8 wins and 2 losses. And a good look at the crowd on hand here at Sec Taylor Stadium. We'll mention again it's close to a full house, and Bruce Bielenberg mentioned that he thought that there would be better than 8,000 on hand. I'm not going to argue with him.
Neither am I.
Let's take a look at that batting order for the Iowa Cubs. That's Billy Hatcher in center field to lead it off. Dave Owens, second baseman, bats second. In right field, Mark Gillespie batting third. Dave Hostetler, power hitting first baseman, will bat fourth. Tom Lombarski batting fifth, the third baseman. Batting sixth, Sean Dunston, shortstop. Seventh in the order, Tom Grant, designated hitter. Bill Hayes, the catcher, bats eighth. Batting number 9, Pookie Bernstein, left fielder. One of the many newcomers on this Iowa Cubs roster. And here's a look at Jose Guzman from Santa Isabel, Dominican Republic.
Tall right-hander with a big leg kick with that left leg. Gets good power behind his pitches by getting down on that back leg, and has good control.
Billy Hatcher coming off the injury list. And back on in the lineup for Larry Cox. And he lets it go by for ball 1.
Billy was very frustrated during batting practice, Mike. He did not have his timing because he's been out of the lineup, and was just downright irritated with his swing. Larry took him over on the sidelines and tried to talk to him and encourage him a little bit. You know, that's the frustrating thing about it. He could be in the big leagues with the Chicago Cubs right now, but he had that injury to his hand, and when Bob Denier went on the disabled list, Billy Hatcher was to be the first one to be called up, but he was injured himself.
Now 2 balls and a strike. A look at the numbers on Jose Guzman.
Not many strikeouts for the amount of innings he pitched.
Bites into it, the 2-1 pitch. It's going to drop for the base hit in front of Chucky Kennedy in left field, and he's going to get 2 out of it. Now the question is, does he have a double or a single +1? And Hatcher, the guy you want to lead off a ball game, will get the double out of it. Let's take a look, Randy.
It was a pretty good pitch, a breaking ball. Really was not a strike. Billy was just trying to make contact with it, hit it down the left field line. Chucky Kennedy could not get a hold of the ball. Billy Hatcher was not slowing up at first base, so I'm sure that they would score it as a double.
Here's Dave Owens, switch hitting infielder, working at second base tonight.
Let's see if he does the job by pulling the ball to the right side of the infield.
And ball 1 to the batter. He's got a couple options here. Pull the ball into right field to set up sailing for Hatcher out at second base, or perhaps a bunt down the third base line to pull Buechele off the bat.
I would imagine he's going to swing.
That's Buechele, the third baseman, backing up on it. Behind the bag, he's got it. And now went away.
I think Dave was just squaring around to see if he could get the infielders to commit a little bit. Normally you don't bunt this early in the ball game with a runner on second base. But he was not able to get the runner over to third base by pulling the ball to the right side. One of the things we might look for here is Billy Hatcher possibly stealing third base.
Mark Gillespie. Another switch hitter to the plate. Now in his 5th year in organized baseball. Gillespie. Tied at the wrists, and it's ball 1. Well, this guy's been an all-star every place he's been in the Texas League in both 83 and 84. Played collegiate ball at Iowa Wesleyan, where he took All-American honors. Iowa Western, I'm sorry, in Council Bluffs. Makes his home in Omaha.
I'll tell you one thing, Mike, he has put some excellent numbers up in his time in the minor leagues. I know that he's been a little bit discouraged that he has not had an opportunity to play for the Chicago Cubs in Chicago, but now he's getting an opportunity to play here because of injuries to the club.
And now 2 balls and a strike. Last year he played in the Texas League, and there you see Billy Hatcher, leadoff hitter with the double shallow down the left field line, and 1 away. Last year in Beaumont, and this year he started the season in the Eastern League at Pittsfield. Double-A level for the Chicago Cubs. Hatcher is the leading base stealer in the American Association, with Kurt Ford of the Louisville Redbirds called up by the Cardinals, and with Chico Walker of the Iowa Cubs called up by the Chicago Cubs. He's number 1 with 15 stolen bases.
He's getting a pretty good lead at second base. Jeff Kunkel was trying to sneak in behind him a little bit. Here's a time that if you have a pickoff play, is an excellent time to try. Not that you would pick him off, you would just shorten his lead a little bit. Ooh.
Hot shot fouled in front of the dugout.
I'm sorry for reacting that way, but I saw that ball going, and I knew it was going to be hitting in the dugout or in the stands. That ball was hit hard.
Oh, rocket. Gillespie was born in Fairfield, Iowa. His family relocated in Omaha, and he went to Iowa Western Community College and then on to Mississippi State, where he took All-American honors. Didn't want it. It catches the handle of the bat, and 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 away. We're in the bottom half of the first. No score. Cubs and the 89ers. 89ers have had the whammy on the Cubs in 1985, leading the season series of 22 games. It's 11 games deep, and the margin is now 2-9. Couple for the Cubs and 9 for the 89ers. Now Guzman.
Things must be going very well for Guzman. He has all of that gold around his neck.
You think it'd weigh him down a little bit, huh?
I don't know. I think that I would even complain about it, tell him to put it in the inside of his shirt.
Distraction. Gillespie, the batter. Hatcher at the bottom of your screen with the lead at second. And now the count goes full. Gillespie has 7 homers in 1985. And one of them a grand slam. Got it against the Louisville Redbirds back on the 25th of May. There are 4 grand slams on this Iowa roster. Bill Hayes got one earlier on in the just completed road trip in Denver. Paul Noce with a grand slam, and we mentioned Gillespie as well. Another grand slam for Tommy Grant on this roster. Count is full to the batter with 1 away. Runners at first and second. Gillespie wins the waiting game against Jose Guzman.
He did a good job, Mike, because he threw him some tough pitches. He was able to foul them off, and work him for a walk.
And here's a guy you want coming to the plate with runners at first and second and one away. Long ball threat, Dave Hostetler. On from the Indianapolis Indians on the 12th of May in a cash transaction. Property of the Montreal Expos, moving on to the Cubs. Hostetler has played, well, this is his third American Association team. Denver at 80, 81, and 82. Then with the Expos, Oklahoma City with the Rangers in 84, Indianapolis in 85, Iowa in 85. Wide of the mark.
I'm sorry, Mike. I wouldn't be surprised to see a double steal, especially with Billy Hatcher at second base. Mark Gillespie is getting a good lead at first base. Mike Rubel is playing way behind him. And I tell you, these guys might pull a double steal. Gillespie also has to get off of the base in order to break up a double play, because Hostetler is not known for his speed.
There go the runners. Shot up the middle. There's one. There's two. And apparently the runner is ruled safe at second base. Hostetler. He did get the good jump.
Well, this is going to be interesting to see on the replay. And here it is. Hard hit ball up the middle. Both runners were running. Jershele makes an excellent play. Maybe his foot was short of second base. And he was able to get Hostetler at first base. From here, originally, it looked like Jershele was able to get the bag. But I tell you one thing, that was an excellent play on behalf of Jershele at second base.
So 4-3 is the put out at first base. Dave Hostetler. On to second base is Gillespie. Trying to reach in with the foot was Jershele. Safe at third, of course. Hatcher, and now runners at second and third, two away. There's strike one.
That was not a hit and run. That was a straight steal. And Hostetler had a good pitch to hit and felt that he could drive the runners in. And unfortunately, the second baseman is going to cover the bag.
Two away.
He would not have been able to make that play.
It's up and away, and now a ball and a strike. Tom Lembarski can't hit the long ball. He's been one of many Iowa Cubs on the bumps and bruises list. Way out of here, but foul. Put it on top of the batting cage. Deep in the right field corner. Like to straighten that one out. Outfield playing him straight away and deep. Lembarski.
I hope no one hits a foul ball down that right field line in those stands, because those fans are looking right into the sun, and there's no way that they could see that ball coming at them.
Backs him away, and now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hatcher, the runner at third, his 10th double of the year. On the walk and at second base. That's Mark Gillespie. Now Lembarski with the 2-2 coming. Count goes full. Guzman working the corners in this one, Randy.
Really trying to pitch him inside, Mike. Lembarski should take note of it for his next time at bat. Again tries to come in on it.
Second walk of the inning. And now the bases will be loaded for a popular figure in this neck of the woods, young Shawon Dunston. Let's take a look at it.
Well, I'm going to tell you that pitch was awfully close.
Sure was.
I don't know if he called it for being low or inside. Guzman was a little bit upset with the call, and rightfully so.
Shawon Dunston coming down from the Chicago Cubs, starting the season as the regular shortstop. And strike one. He's now in his 34th ball game. since coming down from Wrigley Field. Very aggressive at the plate. As a matter of fact, Dunston took his first walk in 115 at-bats just last night.
That is not a good stat, Mike.
That means you're going after bad pitches. Like that one.
You're exactly right. He has one thing on his mind at this time, this particular time at bat, and that is to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
The logic here, and I remember B.B. Richards saying, you don't get to the major leagues by taking the walk, but you don't help your team either.
That's right.
Here's the 0-2 coming. Well, you can't blame the kid for not going up to home plate swinging the bat.
Yeah, but with the speed that he has to get on base. That creates an awful lot of offense. I want to tell you, and you're familiar with them, and that is young Coleman in St. Louis. He has helped turn that ball club around by getting on base, stealing, running. I mean, he creates more excitement than any player I've seen in recent history in the big leagues.
46 stolen bases. Looks routine, the shortstop. Kunkel shovels it on to Jersley. And the 6-4 force out, and the runner coming down, Lamparski, the side, is retired. So a total of 6 batters to the plate, no runs, a base hit. 3 runners left on, there were no errors. Let's move to the second inning here at Sec Taylor Stadium. The score remains, the Cubs nothing, the 89ers nothing. Well, we're on to the top half of the second inning. The Cubs with 6 batters to the plate in the lower end of the first and failing to convert. And Randy, I might point out, you can't waste those scoring opportunities on a team like the 89ers. They won't let you get them back.
You got that right, because you have to score a lot of runs to beat this ball club. They're a very potent ball club in scoring runs.
Crew chief Phil Jansen is down at third base in this one. Dale Scott at first, and with the balls and strikes, Mike Felt. Umpires in this one, 3-man crew. Association works with both the 3-man and the 4-man crew. It varies for one reason. The association has 4 umpires which go up to the major leagues to replace vacationing umpires. Batter up, and I'll look at young Davey Oliver. And I'll tell you this, Randy, it may be that you and I are getting older, but the managers seem to be getting younger. He started this season at 33. I think he's 53 right now, but he turned 34 just before the start of the, well, second month of the season.
He's not aging with this ball club that he has. He just puts them in a lineup and sits back and watches them take cuts at the ball just like we saw.
Hatcher plays it off the wall. This is Chucky Kennedy on his way to second. The tag goes down, and the runner is safe. Well, first of all, I thought that one Billy Hatcher had a play on the ball. It dropped at the base of the wall. We'll take a look at it.
That ball was hit extremely hard, Mike. I didn't think that he had a play on it. Billy Hatcher turned right away, went to the wall of the fence. The ball came back to him perfectly, and he makes an excellent throw into second base. Sean Dunston was a little bit surprised that the ball came back to Billy as soon as it did, and he didn't put that tag on the runner like he should have. You can see him going back for the second effort, and that tells you that the play was safe.
Kennedy with the leadoff double. Here's Mike Rubel. Hooked it right in. Steve Engel did.
Lamparski will be DH. Valdez will play third base, and Matt Grant as a DH.
Mike Rubel. Slow roller, that's Valdez at third. Back to second in a hurry, and the runner is in. Fielding it cleanly is AAA veteran Julio Valdez, and now one away. That's Rubel on the ground out. Now Jeff Kunkel. Here's a young man who made the jump from Double-A to the major leagues last year. Jeff Kunkel, the son of the late American League umpire Bill Kunkel, who passed away early in May after an extended bout with cancer. This young man carries on the legacy. Bill, a former player himself.
That's right. Had played in the big leagues himself, and a fine American League umpire. I have to point out something to Mike. Chuck Kennedy did not make a good play at second base when that ball was hit to Valdez at third. He should be on third base now and not second. Let's see if it costs them a run.
Now one away with the runner in scoring position, Kennedy. Chucky with his 6th double of the year. Al Kunkel was with the Tulsa Drillers last year for 47 games and hit .316, and then went up to the big leagues to Arlington, and with the Texas Rangers in 50 games hit .204.
That's not bad because he's still a very young kid.
And as you will probably agree, shortstop is the one position on the diamond where prevailing baseball thinking you can give up 20 to 25, maybe 35 points. Take a look at the Wizard of Oz and other shortstops extraordinaire. No average at all, but make it up with a glove.
The Oz is making $2 million a year and hitting 200. Well, maybe 210.
Runner at second, the 2-2. You know, last year when we took a look at Dave Owen, you were talking about the new breed of professional baseball player with the long legs, long and lean. Here's a perfect example. Jeff Kunkel. You cover a lot of ground with those kind of legs. You think of guys who have moved to the AAA level and upstairs in the last couple of years, the guys like Mike Ramsey, same thing.
That's right. Major League scouts like a ball player that is built like Jeff Kunkel and Dave Owen. Tall, lean guys. They don't have a lot of extra weight on them, and it allows them to have good range at shortstop.
Count is full to the batter, Jeff Kunkel. He has Kennedy at second base, one away. We had a change in the Cub lineup late breaking. On at third base is Juan Julio Valdez. He'll be batting to open up the second inning. Swing and a miss. Had him going after the high fastball. And I'm not so sure that one was in the strike zone.
No, that pitch was high, Mike. Looked like Kunkel had his mind made up to swing at that pitch. As we see it go by him, it's almost over his letters on his uniform. And that is way out of the strike zone.
Now Jimmy Mailer, designated hitter. Here's a former #1 draft choice to the plate. Back in June of '78, the Seattle Mariners named him #1. Moved on to the New York Mets organization last year with the Portland Beavers and with the Tidewater Mets. Worked in both the Pacific Coast League and the International League, AAA level.
He's got some arms on him. He should be able to hit that ball a long way. I'll tell you something else, too. I'm going to recruit some of those guys on that Sporting Life that we saw between innings. I'm going to recruit those guys for my camp. They look like they had some good ball players there.
Took a little off the breaking ball, and it's high ball, too. What's new in the camp business? What kind of youngsters are you seeing these days, Randy?
Well, I have one guy that's 74 years old coming to camp in Wrigley Field and is an excellent ball player. He has a tough time moving his legs sometimes, but he can field and hit.
He can take two and go to right, huh?
That's right. We have to get a pinch runner for him, but he loves it.
That'll drop into left field for the base hit. Here's Kennedy on his way home. No play at the plate, and it's a 1-0 ball game. RBI single off the bat of Jim Mailer. Sneaked it past the third baseman, Julio Valdez. And for Mailer, we're going to take a look at Mailer picking up his 17th RBI. Take a look at these numbers, leading in triples this year. And I'll say this, in the association, the ballparks are not conducive to getting triples. And in base on balls, very important categories.
Well, I guess. Take all of those base on balls as we see Mailer getting that base hit into left field.
Here's Gino Petralli on the late pitch, and he'll ground it out. 4-3 if you're scoring with us. The runner will die at first. On the receiving end, Dave Owen, Dave Hostetler bringing it on. A run across, 2 base hits. 1 error committed, and there were no errors committed. 1 man is stranded. We move to the bottom half of the second, 1-0 the 89ers. You know, a little earlier on, we mentioned that Larry Cox has managed to keep a very even disposition despite some adversity in 1985. We had a chat with him. It's nearing the midseason point in the 1985 American Association season, and Iowa manager Larry Cox has some new faces to deal with.
Yeah, we've added a few new faces to our roster. Larry Gurr, the former Kansas City Royal, is with us now. He's pitched real well. He's 3-0, and tonight we got a left-hander, Steve Engel, going for us tonight. He's one of our top prospects in the organization up from AA, and we got a center fielder, Pookie Bernstein. I moved him to left field since Billy Hatcher's back, but he's played well since he's joined us.
And Larry, you and Jim Fry have something in common. You're both trying to manage around a lot of injuries.
Well, that's tough in baseball, but injuries are part of the game, and I just don't want to use that as a scapegoat for the year because we really haven't played consistently, but we've lost Billy Hatcher for a while, Reggie Patterson, Guy Hoffman on disabled as a pitcher, and we lost Bill Johnson for the year, but I don't want to use that for an excuse.
And let's talk about the balance of the 1985 season. Can the Cubs get back into it?
I think so. You know, we just got to play consistent baseball. We got to put a streak together, and I think we can get back into it, but it's going to take an awful lot of work.
And some Cub fans on hand here at Sec Taylor Stadium. This is Little League night, and we're working on close to a full house. Hiya, Cub fans. We've had an adjustment in Larry Cox's lineup apparently in the late going. And it looks to me like it's going to be either Bill Hayes or Julio Valdez to open it up, but we'll straighten it out for you as the batters do come to the plate. Tom Lombarski we had listed as the third baseman, batting 5th. He is indeed batting 5th, but he is the DH. And Julio Valdez, we know this, is working at third. A good look at Jose Guzman. I mentioned earlier that Guzman spun a one-hitter at these Iowa Cubs. He's 2-0 for the season against Iowa. And here's Bill Hayes. Good friend of yours, Randy.
He is. I really like Billy. I'd sure like to see him with the Chicago Cubs helping them out right now. It's questionable as to the physical condition of Jody Davis at this particular time. At one point, they thought that he had mono, and now they think that he might have an ulcer. You know, that ulcer is the thing that almost killed him. He was extremely sick with that.
1978, I remember it well. He was playing for the Springfield Redbirds. And he missed the first 2 months of the season. They thought it was a common ulcer, whatever that is. But they thought that the ulcer problem was certainly not as serious as it was. And by mid-season, he had slimmed down to about 185 pounds and was in miserable shape. You talk about catchers playing with pain.
Well, he was operated on once, and we're speaking of Jody Davis, not Bill Hayes.
That'll be a two-hopper to Buechele, and it's routine on to first.
You know, continuing the conversation, Mike, as we look at the replay on Bill Hayes hitting a breaking ball, tried to pull the pitch. It was out away from him. The fundamental thing is to try to tell a hitter to take that ball to right field and not try to pull it, just the opposite of what Billy Hayes tried to do.
Third baseman Julio Valdez out of the Red Sox system, his first tour of duty with the Chicago Cubs organization.
Speaking of Jody, once again, Mike, they operated on him once. They thought they had it fixed. They had to go back in again because he would continue to bleed profusely, and he literally almost died. The St. Louis Cardinals left him unprotected And that's how the Chicago Cubs picked him up, because they did not, the Cardinals didn't think anybody would pick him off of their club, and so they decided not to protect him. And I had told Bob Kennedy at that time, if you could get Jody Davis, then you had better try to do it.
On to the first baseman, Mike Rubel. And Valdez on a two-hopper. Goes down unassisted. Pookie Bernstein.
Now batting number 2, left
His
fielder,
Christian name is Nahimus.
I'm sorry?
His Christian name is Nahimus.
Okay.
I had to have him pronounce it for me prior to the start of this one. I said, what in the world is this? He said, it's Nahimus. I said, well, of course it is. I can deal with Pookie.
Well, I understand why he's called Pookie now.
There's a reason for everything in baseball, I guess. Bernstein with 2 away, nothing out of the infield here in the bottom half of the second inning. A 1-0 ball game. The 89ers get the jump on the Iowa Cubs. Two balls and no strikes. Yeah, I was surprised like you to see Hayes back in a AAA uniform. That's Buechele on the run, delivering, and nothing out of the infield. The side is retired to full. No runs and no base hits. Nobody left on. There were no errors. We're on to the third inning here at Sac Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. And the score, Oklahoma City 1, Iowa nothing. Just a beautiful night for baseball here at Sac Taylor in Des Moines. 83 degrees at game time and a cooling breeze pushing from home plate to dead away center out of the south and southwest. And a good shot of downtown Des Moines, the festival underway this weekend. Two Rivers, if you will, and we're here at Two Rivers Stadium. Mike Newell along with Randy Hundley and another Cub fan on hand.
And a very pretty one, I might add.
Randy, while we've got a second, can you give us a solution to the problem upstairs at Wrigley Field?
Mike, if I could, I'd be a wealthy man.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
You know, Jim Fry doesn't seem at all upset at this point. I mean, he'd rather be winning, but he says the ball club is hitting well. And I guess that's a sign of a good club when you can take your losses when you are hitting well.
Hey, when you've lost 10 games in a row, and you're still only 2 games or 2.5 games out of first place, you have to count your blessings.
Mike Jersley, the batter, coming off the Tulsa Thrillers roster in the AA Texas League. Turned in 92 games in Oklahoma City last year. Engel delivers and a golf shot down the right field line. Backpedaling is Hostetler, the first baseman, and everybody out of the dugout. Hey, 1st and 10.
He's running over some of his old teammates as they're kidding one another.
That's Orlando Mercado, who caught Haas.
They're all giving him a hard time down there, too.
Yeah, that's his old teammate. Steve Engel got that win Monday of this week against the Omaha Royals, 4-3. And the Iowa Cubs continuing on in the homestand this week. You know, it's funny, Randy, everybody thought when the season got underway in the association that the Eastern Division would be the tough division. And it's now 2 balls, 2 strikes. And speaking of the Chicago White Sox, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Detroit Tigers and Montreal Expos talent, but it's turned out to be the other way around, the Western Division, with the Texas Rangers, the Cincinnati Reds, the Kansas City Royals, and the Chicago Cubs, the tough division. And there's the guy who's leading it.
Well, the Eastern Division seems to be very well balanced with the teams in that division.
Jersley is the 3rd strikeout victim of the arm of the southpaw Engel. Let's take a look, Randy.
He throws a hard fastball up and in on him, and he just was not able to get the bat around quick enough to make contact with that pitch. It's a tough pitch to lay off on because it's high in the strike zone, and you see the ball too well, and it just causes you to naturally want to take a swing at it.
Brower likes the lead pitch. It's in foul territory. To the railing, Hostetler, the underhands it. Hey, Haas got over there in a hurry.
Yes, he did. That ball came back a little bit. The wind is not blowing much, but what little there is coming over the stadium and brought that ball back into play.
Steve Buechele is the batter. Fly ball to center field. And he's over 1 in this one. John Kelling, a researcher, came up with something interesting in this guy. He was a collegiate roommate of John Elway at Stanford. You got the third baseman and the quarterback bunking out together. And they maintain the friendship.
There was another guy that was Elway's roommate, Nicely, that played for the Zephyrs.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were roommates also at Stanford.
Nicely now doing the catching for the Cincinnati Reds after hitting about 800 in this league the first 2 months. Actually, it was 455. Goes with the pitch, and he sends the one-hopper into right field. Now that's what you call bat control, Randy.
An excellent piece of hitting there. He did not try to overpower the ball. Just laid the bat on it, struck the ball into right field for a single.
That'll be the third base hit for the 89ers, and Buechele gets on with 2 away. Sign of a good baseball team is if you can score with 2 men out. And the reason for that is it takes away the sacrifice, the fly or the bunt, advancing the runner on the out. You got to do it with base hits. So let's see if the 89ers can get some 2-out magic going here. Let's see if the Cubs can stop them. George Wright, the batter, with 2 away and the runner at first.
Steve Engel has an excellent slow curveball. It keeps the hitters out on their front foot, causes them not to have power. And I was just going to say, watch him hit this next pitch out of the ballpark.
Well, I'm glad you did. George Wright was a strikeout victim to end the first inning. 1 of 3 so far for Engel.
There it is.
Crunch.
But I can tell you one thing. It was not a slow curveball.
It was not a slow curveball. And George Wright makes this a 3-0 ball game. And out in the street, you got your souvenir on George Wright's 6th homer of the year. Scoring ahead of him is Steve Buechele.
It's a $5 cab ride to where that ball ended up.
And he knew it from the time he made contact.
That was a hard slider. Started it out on the outside part of the plate. The ball ended up in the middle of the plate, right in Wright's wheelhouse. And I hate to say it, but I could have hit that pitch. That's it.
You said it.
Fan me, Big Don.
Well, that makes it a 3-0 ball game. Again, the 6th homer of the year for George Wright, his 16th and 17th RBI. He scores for the 13th time, and Steve Buechele, who got on with 2 away, scores for the 43rd time, but now Chucky Kennedy, who doubled to open the 2nd inning, to the plate.
I hope Steve Engel's wife or girlfriend that might hear me say that does not tell him that we were getting some instructions from a beautiful young lady.
Did she say pitch him close?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I thought she was hollering for the pitching coach. But what do I know?
Well, Jim Colbert might have to answer for that. A ball and 2 strikes, 2 away. Kennedy, the batter out of North Carolina State, the youngster. He was a football running back and a center fielder. Also works him at third base. He lets it go by on the corner, low and away. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 4 in the ball game, and that'll retire the side with 5 batters to the plate against Engel. And this one, 2 runs, 2 base hits, nobody left on. Big George Wright took care of that. There were no errors. After 2 1/2, we go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The Cubs on the short end of a 3-0 score in this one. And again, we'll tell you that we've got a beautiful night for baseball here at Two Rivers Stadium, Sec Taylor Stadium in Des Moines, and a crowd of better than 8,000 expected for Little League night. Hi there, Cub fans.
In your Cubs yearbook, you'll find entry lines for Felix and Oscar Zagreski attendance game.
And a bit of sadness at the ballpark, at least at this point. There's an exciting sports event coming up in August here on Iowa Public Television. It's the 1985 Shrine Bowl. More than 80 high schools are represented as the graduated seniors go head-to-head in a football game that showcases the talents of athletes before they enter the collegiate ranks. Join Iowa Public Television on Saturday, the 3rd of August, 7 p.m. live, and see top high school athletes perform. It's all live from the Unidome in Cedar Falls and is really television worth watching. I'm going to be there, Randy.
I wish I could join you.
Howdy.
That's great to see the kids out at the ballpark. Because I want to tell you something, the future of Iowa Cubs baseball is right there with those young fellas.
Randy, not only do you have what is commonly termed the fantasy camps, but you have been very active in recent years in the youth baseball camps. You've worked with your share of youngsters as well.
That's right. As a matter of fact, the fantasy camp is an offshoot of the kids camp. And
somehow it should work that way, I figure.
Yeah, I think so too. Some guy came to the kids camp, said to me, why don't you do a camp for guys 30 and older like this? And that's how it all came about. And actually created a new industry.
Billy Hatcher, the batter, open up the lower end of the 3rd inning. Doubled to left field in the 1st inning and was stranded. The bases loaded. Guzman has had the handcuffs on in the early going of this one. Despite some walk problems in the 1st inning, had a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 2nd. Nothing out of the infield. I'm high on Billy Hatcher. I think this kid has a whale of a future. And as a matter of fact, I'd make the statement, I think he's the top prospect in the entire Cubs system.
Mike, you're not the only one that thinks that way. There are an awful lot of people in the organization feel the same as you, and also a lot of scouts that come around and watch all of the players in the league.
Great set of legs. He can field, he can throw, he can run the bases, and boy, can he hit. All-star from the '84 Association campaign. Guzman on the receiving end. On the other end is Mike Rubel. And Dave Owen, the batter. He's a bit frustrated. His timing is off. You mentioned it earlier.
I'm telling you, you can't imagine how frustrated he was in batting practice today. He threw the bat into the dugout and was just really disgusted with himself. No one could even talk to him. And I can appreciate what he's going through.
Dave Owen, the batter. Switch hitter. Brothers Spike with the Seattle Mariners. Out of Cleburne, Texas. And has been going to school in the off-season at Texas Arlington.
Larry Cox was saying before,
Whoa!
look out here, Mike, you got to make that play, man.
Whoa!
Looked up, saw that ball coming at me, and
what I don't like is that Dave Owen was smiling. Dick McDonald down the line, our official scorer. We're sitting in his seat, you know.
Bill Hayes gave me a mitt before the game started. I should have brought the thing up here with me.
Guzman with his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. Watching it go by is Dave Owen. 2 up and 2 down, and now Mark Gillespie. Whoop, got the corner outside.
Oh, it's a tough pitch.
Gillespie, the batter.
I was saying that Billy Hayes gave me a catcher's mitt. He gave it to give my son Todd, who was a young catcher back in Chicago.
And now 1 ball and 1 strike. Todd a catcher?
Unfortunately, yes.
You'd think that you would have enough in your noggin to tell the guy to find a position where he doesn't have to play with so much pain.
Mike, I did, but it just
Wouldn't listen to Dad,
he's
would he?
a typical teenage kid. He will not listen to. And you know what that's like, huh, Don? You've been there, pal.
Well, not many people know that Randy Hundley has a daughter who is of top quality and high class in the high jump competition, a track and field performer in suburban Chicago. Playable now, the third base line. Buechele loses the cap. And that's it in the lower end of inning number 3. A second straight 3 up, 3 down inning on the arm of Guzman. No runs, no base hits. Nobody left on it. There were no errors. We move to the 4th. We're 3 full here at Sac Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. The 89ers 3. The Cubs nothing. But Randy, to pick up on the story, you did tell me that your daughter has been in state competition as a high jumper, and how things going for her this summer?
Well, it's a little slow for her right now, but she had a very good year in high jumping. She won her districts, had an opportunity to go downstate and compete, and did not do as well there as she expected to. But I'm very proud of her. She tries hard and, you know, gives 100%, and that's what I like about it. And she's also a very good student, which I'm proud of.
And what Dad likes best is the fact that she's under consideration for some collegiate scholarships.
That's right. She receives an awful lot of letters daily, and that's very encouraging. If she could get a scholarship and be in track and field, I would be extremely proud of her. I mean, I'm proud of her as it is, but I think that would be a fantastic experience for her.
Key is you have to enjoy it, Randy.
That's right, and I'll tell you something. I don't know if you've been involved with track and field, but that is tough competition. Takes an awful lot of hard work. Hello.
Somehow the cameramen here at Iowa Public Television can pick out all the pretty faces in the crowd.
Well, they sure can.
Who do we credit now? Lance Vogel, of course. 3-0 ball game. It's on to the 4th. Breaking pitch is inside to the batter, and Mike Rubel. Oh, look at the arms on this guy.
Boy, he is big, isn't he?
He's a former #1 draft choice in the Rangers system back in June of '82. Had 23 homers at the AA level in the Texas League with the Tulsa Drillers in '83. Undercuts the pitch and sends it high in the infield. It's a rainmaker. That's Hostetler. And the first baseman goes to the first baseman.
High is putting it mildly, Mike. That is what you'd call a big league pop-up right there. Boy, he just missed that pitch, too. A good pitch to hit. He gets under it, and Hostetler is waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally the ball comes down. I saw Mike Schmidt miss a ball the other night in St. Louis off of the bat of Jack Clark. Hit a tremendous pop-up on the infield, and Mike Schmidt chased it all the way to the mound and missed it, and Clark ended up on second base. The ball was so high.
I had enough time to go down and pick up another root beer. That's Dunston. You know, when we talk about Dunston being an aggressive player, the shortstop for the Iowa Cubs, not only is he aggressive at the plate, but he's very aggressive in the field. He has a very strong arm.
He does, and he loves to show it off. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think that that's part of his problem. He does not control. Go ahead, Mike.
That's Valdez, the backhand. Scooping in, delivering. Oh, you have 2 fine plays right there. The backhand for Valdez And the scoop up on the glove of Dave Hostetler. I've been impressed with his fielding tonight. Hostetler been doing the job. That's the end of the front half of the fourth. A 3-up, 3-down inning. No runs, no base hits, nobody left on. And there were no errors. Bottom half of the fourth coming up. 3-0, the 89ers. A bit earlier, we had a chance to talk with a comeback player on the Cubs roster, left-hander Larry Gura. 37-year-old Larry Gura is on the comeback trail, and Larry, you've got to be happy with your performance, 3-0 in the early going for the Iowa Cubs.
Yes, I am. The main thing I came down here for was to get some innings in. It was more like a spring training for me, and I think I'm ready to go now.
You feel that you can get back up to the major leagues to work for your old manager, Jim Fry?
Well, it'd be kind of hard because right now with the rotation, if I do go up, it'll probably be in the bullpen, a long relief or something like that, because their starting rotation's pretty well set.
This is your second tour of duty through the American Association. Way back in the early 70s, you were working for Wichita. How do you find it now?
About the same. Get more meal money now than we did back then, but everything else is the same, and the fans are still supportive down here.
And you're next up in the rotation on Tuesday night. You're going to face the Denver Zephyrs. You know a lot about them. They can hit the ball, can't they?
Yeah, they showed that. We were when I first came down here, the first game I pitched was against Denver, and then I fortunately held them pretty good, but the next few games they hit the ball pretty well, so might have to be a little careful here.
Larry, what kind of targets have you set for yourself? What kind of objectives do you have pitching on this Iowa Cubs staff?
Well, main thing is just get some innings in and get some work in. Fundamentals, make sure I get my fundamentals down, because, you know, every ball player is going to tell you if they don't play, they lose their fundamentals and skills and that, and hopefully I can get all that back.
Certainly one of the nice guys on this Iowa Cubs roster, and I certainly hope he does make that comeback, Randy. He's a guy who deserves it.
He really does. As you say, he's just a fine human being, and has had a very successful big league career. An old teammate of mine, we were discussing tonight one of the first times that he went on the mound with the Chicago Cubs. He struggled in the first inning, settled down in Montreal. I'll never forget it. We threw fastballs in and changeups away, and he really got command of those two pitches. And Gene Mock was laughing at both of us because we wouldn't challenge him with fastballs down the middle. And Larry, we were talking about it tonight as he was throwing on the sidelines.
Hostetler, the batter, and now 1 ball and 1 strike. Hostetler moved on from the Rangers to the Montreal Expos system for pitcher Chris Welsh, and then was sold to the Chicago Cubs and assigned to Iowa.
Speaking of Larry Gura, can you imagine him talking about the meal money and the American Association? He has another year to go on a contract with the Kansas City Royals and making $1,100,000 a year, and he's talking about the meal money.
I think he was pulling our leg a little bit.
He's my kind of guy. I love it.
A bit earlier, you saw the numbers, the monthly record for the Iowa Cubs, and it certainly has not been a pretty picture, winning 3 of 15 starts in April, playing 500 ball in May, and now 10 and 14 in June. But, you know, this manager, first-year manager, 37-year-old Larry Cox, he is not a give-up guy. He is going to hang with this ball club to the bitter end.
He played that way as a player, and I'm sure that he's going to manage that way. He's going to do everything that he can possibly do and let things take care of itself. That's basically all you can do.
Designated hitter Tom Lombarski penciled in initially at third base and then put on his DH. Here's the 1-1. You notice that Guzman has not been getting the low end of the strike zone from home plate umpire Mike Felt. He's getting to the kneecaps, but just a little bit low. On the receiving end, center fielder George Wright. Sinking line drive in the gap right center. And now Sean Dunston. Got it right in the wheelhouse. He'd like to have that.
Yes, he did. George Wright got an excellent jump on that ball. As soon as the ball left the bat, he was heading right into position to make the catch. George Wright looking around, seeing Bob Brower backing him up on the play, saying, "What in the world are you doing out here?" I had it all the way. There's no sense in running yourself to death.
Dunston fights into the lead pitch. And for the Iowa Cubs, that's hit number 2. And now with 2 away, let's see if the Cubs can turn some 2-out magic. He goes with the pitch and kind of came around on it, the inside-outside swing. And to his credit, he didn't try to come around on it.
Well, you remember the first time at bat with the bases loaded? The same pitch. He tried to pull it that time because he was thinking home run. This time he struck the ball into right field, as he should have been trying to do his first time at bat.
Bill Hayes, the batter out of Indiana State University.
There he goes.
High enough for the center fielder right to get underneath it. Going with the pitch was Dunston. It's all for naught. The fly ball will end it here in the bottom end of the 4th inning. No runs and a base hit with 4 batters to the plate. 1 runner is left on. There were no errors. We're 4 innings full, and we're on to the 5th. Right now, it's a 3-0 ball game. The 89ers lead the Cubs here at Sec Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. Those are the numbers that run across for the 89ers in the 2nd inning. And in the 3rd inning, a 2-run homer off the bat of George Wright. His 6th of the year, his 2nd in 2 nights. Got one from the left side last night and from the right side tonight. Lance Vogel does it again.
He really has a tough job, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Well, we move to the front half of the 5th inning. Gino Petralli, Mike Jerschley, and Bob Brower, 8, 9, and 1 in the order. Petralli, the batter. Petralli entered the 2nd inning on a ground out to Owen at second. Into the left field corner, and it's got extra bases stamped all over it. That's Bernstein bringing it down and pedaling in with a stand-up double. 5th hit of the ball game. And for the 2nd time in 5 innings, the lead batter gets on with a double. Kennedy, who scored in the 2nd, and now Petralli, who thunders one into the corner, his 6th double of the year.
Petralli had a good swing at that pitch. Engel gets behind on him, as we see Bernstein playing the carom off the wall, getting the ball back in. I want you to see, I don't know if, well, it doesn't show it, but I wanted to point out, especially to all of the Little League coaches, how they had the shortstop cutoff man, the 2nd baseman was backing him up, backed up by the 3rd baseman, backed up by the pitcher. And, you know, I don't see it happening in the Little Leagues.
Well, it's a matter of reducing the chances for mistakes, because as many mental errors are made in this game as there are physical. And now the runner at 2nd with the double.
It's like Jim Price in the bullpen. Ken Price, I should
Kenny
say.
Price, the right-hander, going in the bullpen.
Right.
This is Mike Jerschley. Jerschley last year missed the first 2 months of this season with a broken left hand. Suffered in a preseason exhibition game against Oklahoma State. The 89ers playing host to the Cowboys.
Let me just point something out here again, Mike. He is trying to hit the ball to the right side in order to move Petralli to 3rd base.
And Engel trying to keep the ball in the inside part of the plate to prevent that. And he sails one wide. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Ken Price, right-hander, is up in the bullpen.
An excellent pitch in this situation is for Steve Engel to throw that slow curveball. That might allow Jerschley to pull the ball to the left side and holding the runner at 2nd. And that's better yet, striking him out.
Dropped it off the table. And 1 out in the inning. And that'll be 5 strikeouts now for Engel. What kind of pitch was it? Looked like a slider.
It was a slow curveball.
Okay.
But he was trying to stay back on the ball, hit the ball to the right side, and still got out in front of it.
Petrelli, the runner at second base. Now the top of the order, and Bob Brower, right fielder.
You hear the old saying, take two and hit the right. That's why right there, because it's very difficult to do. That's why they make fun of it, is that you know,
right.
You can't hit the ball to right field with 2 strikes on you, because it's a tough thing to do.
It's like the pitching coach coming out to talk to the pitcher in trouble. He said, I want you to strike him out, but don't give him anything he can hit.
That's right.
Here's the 1-0. Brower is a base-stealing threat when he gets on. He had 54 stolen bases at the AA level in the Texas League for the Tulsa Drillers last year. That with a .285 average before moving upstairs to the 89ers. Played for the Burlington Rangers in 1983, Class A Midwest League. And had a .312 season. There are quite a few 89ers who played in the Midwest League at Burlington. Specifically, the class of '82 had Chucky Kennedy, Greg Tabor, Glenn Cook, Tony Fossis from the pitching staff, and '83 Jose Guzman, Glenn Cook again, Jeff Kunkel, and Bob Brower right here. Down in the southeast corner of the state.
All of those fellows have made steady progress. A year at Class A, maybe a year at AA, and now here they are at AAA level.
You hear all the time, Randy, about rushing ball players. And that is a situation when you have a ball player jump a classification or two and just can't cut it. He's just not ready. You have a rare exception in a player from this squad, Oda B. McDowell, the Olympic hero, who played a month of AAA baseball, and that's it. Now he's upstairs doing it for the Rangers. But that is the exception.
Bill Hayes thought that he had him struck out there. Talking to the umpire about the play. He's trying not to turn around on him. And the umpire is getting it from Larry Cox on the bench now. And you see them, both of them. The umpire. It's interesting to see this go on. I've been there and I know what's happening.
The reason
Bill Hayes is trying to keep his head looking out towards the pitcher so that the fans don't know that he's arguing with them. And he's turning his head a little bit too much. And the umpire got on him about it.
Well, the reason we didn't put a camera on it, if we had any lip readers in the audience, we wouldn't want to offend anybody, you see.
And you could read the lips through those masks.
Tell them all about it, Mike Felt. The runner at second with the leadoff double, Gino Petrelli. Scherschle, the strikeout, now the top of the order. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bob Brower. Steve Buechele, the on-deck hitter, with 1 away.
There it is. Bill Hayes is going to say to him, it's the same pitch you missed the pitch before.
What was wrong with it the last time, Mike? And now Larry Cox will come out to talk it over with his starting left-hander, Steve Engel, who's in his second start since coming up from Pittsfield, where
Look at
Tommy
Hayes.
Spencer.
I'm sorry, Mike. Hayes is looking back at the umpire. I hope he doesn't get kicked out of the ball game before it's over.
Hayes played on that Indiana State team with reliever Dick Graventine and Wally Johnson. Both performers with the Indianapolis Indians, and they went to the Collegiate World Series. Did a heck of a job. #1 draft choice. Behind the plate, Bill Hayes.
What they were discussing was that they want to pitch around Steve Buechele in this situation. They, just as you were mentioning before, they don't want to give him anything good to hit, but at the same time try to get him out if you can. Now, if this next pitch is a ball, Larry Cox may option just to put him on first base rather than fool around with him.
That would set up the force out at third and second with 2 away and get Buechele out of the batter's box. Buechele for this ball club leads in average at .284. game appearances, at-bats, runs scored, base hits, doubles, homers, and RBI. He's not backing into the pay line, is he?
He's sure not. I don't know that I wouldn't just go ahead and put him on.
Why risk it? This game is well within reach. We're in the top of the fifth, a 3-0 contest, and there is Larry Cox.
But see, he has a problem in that George Wright is the next hitter, and he has really been hot with the bat.
Backhand, Dunston. Whoa, on the first. Out through it from the depth.
I can't believe the arm that young kid has.
4 batters to the plate, and that's it. The runner leading it off with a double, dies at second. No runs, 1 base hit. 1 runner left on. And there were no errors. We're on to the bottom half of the 5th inning, and there are the numbers. The 89ers 3 and the Cubs nothing. And right now we're going to talk to one of the newcomers on this Iowa Cubs roster. His name is Dave Hostetler, first baseman. He's the guy who can hit homers. Power hitting first baseman Dave Hostetler is one of the new faces in the lineup for the Iowa Cubs. And Dave, you're swinging a hard bat, 12 home runs.
Well, I feel real comfortable up there. I'm real happy to get a chance to be playing every day. When I was with Indianapolis, I wasn't doing that, and I got that opportunity when I got traded over here.
And this has been a ballpark that you can get hits in. You can get the home run as well at Sec Taylor, can't you?
This is a good ballpark to hit in. It seems like the wind blows out every night, and the fences aren't they're not too deep here, and it's just a real good park to hit in.
Texas Rangers, one of your former organizations. You like going against the Oklahoma City 89ers?
Well, it seems like every organization in this league I've been with, or at one time or another, and you know, I'm making my rounds around the league, and it seems like inter-squad games every time a team comes in here. But I'm real happy to be over here, and it's always fun to play against a team that you've been with before.
Dave, how many home runs would you need in 1985 to call it a real successful season?
Well, I really haven't set any goals. I've just come in and trying to do the best I can every day, and I don't want to try to hit home runs here. If I try to do that, then I'm gonna start getting into some bad habits that I was in before. So what I try to do every day is just come out and try to hit the ball hard and not think about the home runs as much.
Well, right now, Dave Hostetler ranks number 4 in the league in home runs with 12. Up at the top of the list, Andres Galarraga. With Indianapolis, he has 16, and then the Denver twosome of Wade Rowden and Cal Daniels with 13 apiece. Of course, they're hitting at Mile High Stadium, and a lot of balls get out of there.
You better believe it. The ball travels in Denver like you can't believe. Dave Hostetler, of course, the one year in Texas, he hits 22 or somewhere around that home run. So. And you know, people don't realize that's a tough ballpark to hit home runs in because the wind is always blowing in the stadium there.
Julio Valdez will lead it off. It's Pookie Bernstein and then Billy Hatcher. Batters 8, 9, and 1. We're on to the bottom half of the 5th, and Cubs got to get something going. Out hit at this point 5-2 and outscored 3-0. And here's the reason why. Jose Guzman, who one hit the Iowa Cubs earlier on this season. Guzman, little flip. 1-3 is the put out, and that'll be one away. That one hitter for Guzman against the Cubs came on the 23rd of April. Tony Woods broke up the no-hit effort.
Number 2, left fielder Pookie Bernstein.
Valdez got way out in front on that pitch. Hit it off the end of the bat. Guzman making a good play. Going over, fielding the ball, and just an easy toss to first base.
Nahemis Bernstein.
Better known as Pookie.
Pookie. By the way, he's got a little Iowa in him. He played up in Waterloo for the Indians in 1983. Had a .233 season in 130 games, and he moved on from the Cleveland organization, Pookie did, with the big right-hander Jay Baller in exchange for Danny Roan. Can he beat it out? Not this time. Wasn't deep enough. Kid has some speed, Bernstein.
Yes, he does. He got a bad jump coming out of the box and was not able to get a good jump once he hit the ball. He stumbled a little bit and just couldn't get things going.
This will be Kunkel up for the ball. Boy, he makes it look routine, but you and I have discussed this before, Randy. It's anything but.
That ball came up very nicely for him, and that was more or less a routine play. When that ball stays down, that's the tough play for him.
Top of the order, Billy Hatcher. Backing up on the ball, that's Kennedy. Lets it go off the wall. Here's Hatcher. His second double of the ball game. And once again, with 2 away, the Iowa Cubs get the runner on. Have that in the 4th as well, and let's see if the Cubs can get him across this time.
I wonder if this is going to make Billy Hatcher any happier. The ball is hit hard over Chuck Kennedy's head in left field. Takes a big bounce off of the fence. There's no play on Billy Hatcher at second base, especially with the speed that young man has.
Mention again that Billy does lead the American Association in stolen bases. He has 15 at this juncture. As a matter of fact, 15 in 23 attempts.
Well, we know that he's not going to be trying to steal here with 2 out.
Not with 2 away. Ahead of him on the list are Kurt Ford with 19 for the Louisville Redbirds, and from the Iowa Cubs roster, Chico Walker. Hey, good work. Extra bases. And here comes the runner.
We don't see Billy Hatcher throwing that helmet down this time. He's very happy about getting a double. Dave Owen took some extra batting practice today. Dave Hostetler was working with him on his hitting, and he hits that ball in the gap in right center field as George Wright plays the carom off of the center field wall. I'm glad to see Dave get that base hit because he has been a little bit down also with his hitting. Doing an excellent job defensively, but been struggling at the plate.
So Rusty Gerhardt comes out to talk it over with Jose Guzman. That'll be the 8th double of the year for Dave Owen. It's his 16th RBI, and wheeling in from second base after his double, Billy Hatcher, who scores for the 33rd time. Now 4 hits in the ball game for the Iowa Cubs, and 3 of them are doubled. Now a 3-1 ball game. And all of this coming with 2 away, I might point out. And here now is Mark Gillespie.
Right fielder, Mark Gillespie.
This young man can hit the ball out of the ballpark, too. So Guzman is not out of the woods yet.
And he sends it foul to the third base side. Souvenir up for grabs in a real hurry. Dave Hostetler, the on-deck hitter, should Gillespie keep it going.
I know Guzman doesn't want him coming to the plate with Mark Gillespie on.
That's Owen with the lead at second. Goes after the inside pitch. Undercuts it, and no balls and 2 strikes. Rusty Gerhardt in the middle, and on the left is Dave Oliver, manager of these 89ers.
Looks a little upset with the situation, but I don't know why. 23 games over 500.
You saw the guy with the clipboard to the right side of your screen, and that's Tommy Joe Shimp, who has the start tomorrow. He is charting the pitches. What kinds of pitches are being swung at, setting up situations where you can get a read on the type of hitting that'll take place with runners on, and of course in consideration of the out situation. Gillespie now runs the count 2-2. Into to the dugout in a hurry. Did it get someone?
No, but one of the players was standing with his head above that screen, and I'm telling you, he had to duck mighty quick to get out of the way of that ball. Took his hat off, and that young player doesn't have a hair on his head.
Lightning strikes for the second time in the same place tonight. 2 away in the inning with a run across. And it's going to be fouled to the corner. You know, Gillespie from the left side will undercut that inside pitch. He doesn't do that from the right side. But he's getting the pitch right where he wants it. He can level off that swing if it comes up a little in the strike zone. Watch out.
You know what happened? In order for Gillespie to hit the ball out of the ballpark, Guzman has to make the mistake with the pitch more out over the plate. He's doing an excellent job by getting the ball down and in, and that's why he's pulling that ball so far foul. If he misses with the pitch out over the plate, you can.
That'll score a run from second base, Dave Owen. And just like that, we got a ball game on our hands. Mark Gillespie whips a single into right field. He got it over the plate, Randy.
Yes, he did. Was able to get the big part of the bat on the ball, driving Dave Owen in from second base. Mark Gillespie battled him hard this time at bat also. His first time up, he got a walk out of him by continuing to foul pitches off. This time he gets a big base hit to put the Iowa Cubs within 1 run of the 89ers.
Gillespie gets the single, and for Gillespie, his 33rd RBI. Owen, hot footing from second base. He comes in on the slide, and Davey comes across for the 29th time this year. So 2 runs on 3 hits, and those are the numbers. Now Hostetler would like to make up for his strikeout that opened the 4th inning. He has the runner at first. Back on him, Guzman.
Gillespie has deceiving speed. He has stolen 7 bases, has not been caught stealing yet. We might see him trying to go. I'll tell you what, Guzman thinks he may try it also.
And we might get a good look at the arm of catcher Gino Petrelli.
But I tell you what, I'm sorry, Mike, excuse me, but I tell you what Larry Cox may do. He may wait until Hostetler gets 2 strikes on him before he sends Gillespie.
Well, there's 1, and now 1 ball and 1 strike. Hostetler. Hostetler played his collegiate ball at Southern Cal out of Arcadia, California. Originally in the Expos organization. Moved down to the Rangers, back to the Expos, and now with the Cubs. It's foul. There's a shot of Lance Vogel down the third base line. And I'll tell you again, he draws hazardous duty pay against the railing.
It's a good thing he's not on the first base side, especially with Gillespie hitting. Now let's see if Larry Cox gives Gillespie the steal with 2 strikes on Hostetler. He may not do it here. Kind of a cop-out, you know.
He might or he might not.
Because the pitch is now is when he might do it. 1 and 2 is not a real good time to do it because you can waste another pitch. You could call a pitch out if you want to. Now you don't want to go to 3 and 2, so it would be an excellent time for him to steal. But he's not.
The strikeout will end it. That's the 2nd tonight for Hostetler. The runner dies at first, but not before the Iowa Cubs make a game out of this. Sending 6 batters to the plate, 2 runs on 3 hits. 1 runner is left on. There were no errors. We move to the 6th inning, and after 5 full, it's a 1-run ball game. The 89ers 3 and the Cubs 2. Left-hander Steve Engel against right-hander Jose Guzman. And those are the numbers, 3-2. We move to the 6th. Engel has faced 20 batters in 5 innings. He's given up 3 runs, 5 hits, walked none, and he has struck out 6. And Guzman has faced 22 batters in 5 full innings. He's given up a total of 2 runs on 5 hits. He's walked 4 and struck out none.
Both of them pitching an excellent ball game.
Top half of the 6th inning. George Wright sends it into left field, and one hopping it will be Mr. Hatcher. Right with the single into left. And just like that, a total of 6 hits up on the board. Gives you a lot of flexibility when you get that lead batter on, Randy.
It sure does. I was going to make the comment that George Wright is only hitting .220, and I don't understand that, because in the last 2 nights I've seen him hit some balls awfully hard and get a lot of base hits. But maybe he's on his way back.
Whoosh. Chucky Kennedy scored the first run of the ball game, leading it off with a double in the 2nd inning, and there's George Wright.
Well, you can tell that Kennedy was a football player by his legs. He has huge legs. And I understand he was an outstanding running back.
Yes, he was.
In North Carolina. The 89ers are claiming that Steve Engel balked on that throw to first base.
Randy, the left-handed pitcher, has an advantage in his motion with runners on. It's a natural pickoff move as he is fronting first base. The right-hander, of course, has his back to first base.
That's true, but there are a lot of left-handers that really don't have a good move to first. And I don't know why it is that they have such a tough time throwing over there. One thing is, when you go to throw the ball to first base with a runner on first, you cannot take your right foot behind the rubber. If you do, you cannot go to first. And that's what they were claiming he did on that throw to first.
A little bit earlier, I said that Guzman has no strikeouts. He has 3 in the ball game, and 2 walks allowed. They came in the first inning. Now the runner at first and nobody out. 1-2. Kennedy was a strikeout victim, one of 6 set down by Mr. Engel thus far. Two strikes. Gets away from the catcher, Hayes. He recovers in time. Yes, indeed. Hayes. It chipped loose of him. And the runner on his way to second right. Kind of stutter step between first and second. And he guns him down.
Boy, he made an excellent throw on this play. He has really been throwing well. Did not even make that play close at second base.
And that snuffs out the leadoff runner. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Larry Cox said that sometimes their best defense is to walk a hitter and let Bill Hayes throw him out at second base trying to steal.
The strikeout puts 2 outs on the board. And that'll be number 7 for the left-hander Engel. Mike Rubel, the batter.
First baseman Mike Rubel.
So the Cubs come up with a 2-run inning in the bottom half of the 5th. Make a game out of this one, and now in the 6th, 2 away, the off-speed curveball. And Rubel, strike 1.
Boy, he's got some arms on him. We commented on it before, but they seem to get bigger every time he comes to the plate.
Whoops. Deep to left field. High off the wall, and that might be the longest single of the season. To second base, and the tag goes down. You betcha. Oh, my. 2 outs on the base paths in the inning. And here's Rubel trying to make 2 out of 1. This one didn't miss by much.
I thought the ball was out of the ballpark. Pookie Bernstein making a great play off of the ball coming off of the wall, making an excellent throw to Dave Owen at second base. As
Take
we
a
look
look
at it, yep, the ball was hit high off of the wall. Makes an excellent hop right to Pookie Wilson. I'm sorry, to Pookie Bernstein. You see Dunston is the cutoff man there. It's a good thing that he let that throw go, because normally he would just cut that ball and turn and throw it to Dave Owen. But Owen, I'm sure, was telling him to let the ball go because he had a play on Rubel at second base, and he threw him out by a good 2 steps.
So 2 outs in the base paths. The stealer caught in the arm of Bill Hayes. That was George Wright after his leadoff single, and then Rubel trying to make 2 out of 1. 7-4 is the putout. Side retired. The minimum of 3 goes to the plate in the 6th inning for the 89ers. Well, I hope you're enjoying tonight's baseball game here on Iowa Public Television. We have one more Iowa Cubs game to bring you on our 1985 schedule. The date is July 13th, and the time is 7:30 p.m. when the Buffalo Bison will invade Sec Taylor Stadium here in Des Moines. Be here with Randy Hundley and me for that exciting matchup, the Chicago White Sox, the Chicago Cubs at the AAA level. It'll be a good opportunity for you to see the newest club in the American Association. Don't forget to be with us July 13th on Iowa Public Television, Iowa Cubs baseball. 2 hits in the inning. And that was it in the front half of the 6th. Now we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning.
He's trying to get something going.
You bet he is. Guzman, the windup. Backing up on the ball, George Wright. He lets it go off the wall. Lombowski with the leadoff double. 6 base hits in the ball game.
Attaboy, he got him started.
You bet he did. 6 base hits in the ball game, and that'll be the 4th double for the Iowa Cubs. Lombowski and Wright did not get a good jump on the ball.
Well, I'll tell you something. That ball was hit extremely hard. Lombowski had a great swing on that pitch. Almost trips and falls going around first base. But the ball was ricocheting off of the center field wall, and there was no play on Lombowski at second base.
Randy, you and I are in agreement that this young man, Sean Dunston, has all the tools to be a great major league ball player, but there's a reason he's back with the Iowa Cubs.
Mike, I think one of the reasons that he's back here is that he just has to learn to play the game. You know, he has an awful lot of physical ability, but he just does not know the game well enough yet. And so mentally, he has to learn how to play at a higher level. And when you can get him to harness some of that raw physical ability and play within himself and not try to overdo things, then he's going to be a big league player.
Out of the baseline. He is ruled out of the baseline. Here comes the runner out from third. Oh, my goodness. And the runner scores all the way from second. The bunt down the first baseline on the 0-1 pitch. Now, you will see him stop.
That's
up with the ball, Rubel. He bobbles it, and now going out of the baseline, he is called out, and the runner comes on from second base, all the way from second, and just like that, we've got a 3-3 ball game.
Rubel making a bad play there in that he did not have to throw that ball because Dunston went way out of the baseline. That's an automatic out. He should have just held on to the ball. However, You don't know what the umpire is going to call it, and that's why he turned and made the throw.
Dunston stopped coming out of the batter's box. 2 steps out of it. And that confused Rubel out of center field. Hey, it's going to drop for the base hit. Bill Hayes gets the 2nd hit of the inning and the 7th in the ball game.
This ball gets in on him. He hits the bat off the handle of hits the ball off the handle of the bat. Nobody's at second base. George Wright comes in and fields the ball and runs it all the way back into second base himself to prevent Bill Hayes from taking advantage of no one being at second.
Rusty Gerhardt, pitching coach, out to talk it over. Left-hander Bill Early working in the bullpen, former Iowa Cub.
You know, just making another point about Sean Dunston. If he'd have been running as soon as he bunted that ball, he could have beat that ball out, could have gotten by Rubel at first base. Those are the kinds of things that you have to learn. And I'll tell you something, he's getting a good lesson in professional baseball.
Bill Early in the right field corner for the 89ers working the arm, the southpaw. In the left field corner is the right-hander, Ken Price. Still 1 away. Valdez spikes it off upstairs, strike 1. Yeah, I think Rubel was confused with the bunt coming down the first base line, and Sean Dunston took but 2 steps out of the batter's box and stopped. Then he picked up the beat down the line and tried to bend around the tag. The ball was bobbled by Rubel. He flipped it onto first, didn't have to. It goes into right field, and scoring from second base to tie the ball game, Tom Lombarski. 3-3. Now the runner at first after the bloop single to center field, Bill Hayes. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. The pass down to second. Hey, the runner saved. Bill Hayes. Whoa. Breaking with the pitch, the hit and run, and he gets his 3rd stolen base.
Without being thrown out. I wish I could say that is just sheer speed. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Petralia had a bad pitch to try to throw him out on. The ball is down and in on Valdez. As a matter of fact, it short hopped Petralia behind the plate. He had to skip, hop, and jump in order to get out and throw the ball, and Bill Hayes slides into second base with his 3rd stolen base. Proud of you, Billy.
And he hasn't been caught this year. Bill is now what you'd call a base-stealing threat. In '84, he had 1 for the Iowa Cubs. He had 3 for the Iowa Cubs in '83, 3 more in '82. Two-two pitch against the railing, Petrelli.
Buechele helping Petrelli out from hurting himself. He almost got hung up on the Cubs dugout. He's getting very close to the steps there, and as he catches that ball, he's almost going into the dugout. Buechele sees that he's going to have a problem and tries to keep him from falling.
That was Larry Gura holding up the arms to try to keep him out of the dugout. He covered some ground to get underneath that one.
He made a good play on that ball.
He is called out at the shootouts, and that'll retire the side. And we have a total of 5 batters to the plate, and the Cubs get back into this one with a run across. 2 base hits, 1 runner left on, now 3 stranded. In the ball game, there were no errors. We move to the 7th, we're 6 full. It's the Cubs 3 and the 89ers 3 right here at Sec Taylor Stadium in Des Moines. This has been a tough club for the Iowa Cubs to handle, winning 2 of 11 starts thus far in 1985, and a good shot of the skyline downtown Des Moines. There's a shot of the Cub Club. And a good look on a near capacity crowd. Little League night at Sec Taylor.
That's amazing that it is still light outside. It's 9:30, 9:15 or thereabouts. You notice, Don, I don't tell time very well.
New pitcher coming on, it's Kenny Price. Right-hander coming on for the left-hander Engel. Engel faces 23 batters in a total of 6 innings. He gives up a total of 7 hits in 6 innings. 3 runs allowed, all of them earned. He walks none, and he strikes out 7 batters in the ballgame. Now, the right-hander, Ken Price, will work the 7th. And Price into this ballgame is appearing in his 23rd contest. He's 0-3 with 1 save and his ERA 5.46. Hi there, Cub fans. Let's take a look at Ken Price out of the mound.
Has a good fastball, a good slider, and has done a very good job for the ball club. Is not a strikeout type of pitcher, more of a control pitcher, and he's strictly out of the bullpen.
Price here in the 7th inning to face the threesome of Kunkel, Mailer, and Petralli. 6, 7, and 8 in the order.
206. 7-2-0-6.
And now no balls and 1 strike to the batter. Attendance tonight is 7,206 at Sec Taylor Stadium. And this ball club has drawn exceptionally well in 1985.
Especially where they are in the standings. And I tell you, that has to be a credit to the Iowa Cubs fans.
Well, indeed it is, and we'd like to thank Bruce Bielenberg and Sam Burnaby and Don Silverman's entire staff, Kenny Grandquist. Down the right field line, this could cause a problem. It is fair into the corner for extra bases. Kunkel with good wheels digging for 3. Here comes the throw. He's in the slide, and he picks up the triple. Mr. Kunkel picks up his 5th triple of the year. Sends it deep into the right field corner. And now 8 base hits for the 89ers, the first off of Kenny Price. He's got some speed.
He really does. He was, I was surprised with the speed running around the bases. But he got from first to third as quick as you'll see anybody get there. I'm glad to see him slide feet first rather than head first. I wish they would outlaw the head first slide, because I think too many guys get hurt that way.
I think you're right, Randy. I think the prevailing thinking from the coaching standpoint, if you go in feet first and turn an ankle, you'll be out of action a lot longer if you belly flop in and turn a wrist. But I don't agree with that thinking myself.
No, your hands are too vulnerable to injury.
You know, if they did outlaw that heads first slide, Vinnie Coleman would be out of a job, and Pete Rose too.
Yeah, that's true.
1-1 pitch coming. This is Jim Mailer, designated hitter. He has the runner at third, nobody out. Bill Early, left-hander, continues in the bullpen. Kenny Price, right-hander, on for the starter. He yields the triple, and that's Jeff Kunkel.
The infield is playing halfway in, Mike.
That's Dunston checking the runner, and 1 away.
That's exactly why they were playing halfway in, to prevent that runner from scoring at third base. Pitch gets in on Mailer, and was not able to hit that ball hard enough to drive it through the infield. Sean Dunston coming up and firing the ball across to Hostetler at first. Now Larry Cox is going to walk.
Well, it's the left-handed swinging Mike Jersley. Well, no, I'm sorry. Petralli. Petralli, the catcher. Now this, Randy, you can explain it better as a manager, sets up the force out at both second and first with 1 away, so you have the chance of picking up the double play to snuff out that runner.
I was trying to explain that, Mike, and then Petrale came up there left-handed, and it confused me. So I did have it right to begin with. Larry Cox is trying to set up the double play. He has Mike Jersley, the ninth hitter in the lineup, and he figures that he stands a better chance of doubling him up than to pitch to Petrale, who is a switch hitter. Now, if Petrale was just a right-handed hitter, he probably would have pitched to him there, again pulled the infield in, and try to prevent that run from scoring.
Was that one of those, you got to get this guy out, but don't give him anything he can hit? Is that the message there?
Not in that situation. You either walk him or you pitch to him.
And playing the chess game on the other side of the board is Davey Oliver.
And a lot of things can happen here. We can be alive for a double steal where the runner at first breaks for second.
And the runner from third in the delayed double steal would wheel on home. We're tied at 3-3, one away, top of the seventh.
We might also be alive for a squeeze here.
There's a strike. Jersley has not had a good night at the plate. He has Kunkel at third on a leadoff triple. Gino Petrale, the runner at first. The intentional walk.
Kenny Price cannot keep pitching up there and get out of this jam. That's right where the hitter wants the ball. Something up so that he can drive the ball into the outfield. Kenny, on the other hand, needs to try to pitch low to try to get a ground ball to create the double play that Larry Cox set up in the first place.
3 balls, 1 strike with runners at the corners. Jersley. All 4. So the walk follows the walk. And now bases loaded. Leadoff pitcher was Steve Engel, who worked 6 innings, we mentioned, facing 23 batters, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. Walked none and struck out 7 in his second mound appearance for the Iowa Cubs since coming up from the AA level. He cannot be the winner nor the loser, and right now Ken Price in relief. As the base is loaded, and now the top of the order.
The tough thing about putting the guy on is that you have this, create this situation. You have the top of the order coming up with the bases loaded and only 1 out.
A ball and no strikes. Bob Brower. There's a strike. A ball and a strike to the batter. Working in the bullpen, the right-hander for the Cubs, Davey Gumpert. Outfield playing Brower to go to right, and he sends it to the right field corner. Now a ball and 2 strikes. Still 1 away. 3-0. The lead for the 89ers. Run across in the second inning, a double to Kennedy, and with 2 away, Jim Mailer singled him home. An inning later, with 2 away, a single to Steve Buechele. He went to right field, and then the 6th homer of the year for George Wright. 2-run shot made it 3-0. Cubs sent 2 across in the 5th. A 2-out double, Billy Hatcher. Dave Owen doubled him home, and then Owen was singled home by Gillespie. Strike 3, and now 2 away.
I want to tell you something. He got by with the pitch there because you brought up a very interesting point. The outfield was playing him around to right field, so therefore you have to pitch him that way. But he let that ball stay right over the middle of the plate, and why he took that pitch, I'll never know, especially with the bases loaded.
Here's the leading RBI man for the Oklahoma City 89ers, Steve Buechele. Ranks 4th in the American Association. into this one and backing up on the Bernstein and out of the jam. By the Iowa Cubs. Fly ball to left ends it with the bases loaded. No runs, 1 base hit. 3 runners left on. Now 5 stranded for the 89ers. No damage. In this, the top half of the 7th, no errors. We move to the stretch, the bottom half of the 7th inning. A 3-3 ball game, the 89ers and the Cubs. And earlier on, we had a chance to talk to a former Iowa Cub, left-handed reliever, Bill Early. Former Iowa Cub Bill Early has a new organization, and it's most comfortable for him. Bill, a heck of a season for you in 1985.
Well, thanks, and it is comfortable to be here and be with the team that wants you and giving you a chance to pitch, and that's all I asked for after going free agent last year, and I'm happy to be here right now. We're playing good ball, and it's a good ball club.
6th year in the American Association. You know the ballparks, don't you?
Yeah, I know all of them. The new ones, Nashville and Buffalo, are new to me, but other than that, I know all the parks, all the nooks and crannies, and I've been here for a while, so I know all the players have come through, and I feel it's about my time to make a move here.
Think you have a chance to get upstairs?
Well, I think I have a chance. They're very short on pitching, especially in the bullpen, and they need some left-handed pitching, and I think I have as good a chance here probably as any other club.
You did some pitching for a guy by the name of Randy Hundley, didn't you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I pitched for Randy in 1979 in the Texas League, and that was probably my best year in pro ball, and Randy was a great guy and a good manager, and he stuck me out there every 5th day if I was going good or bad, so thanks a lot for Randy.
You know, we had a knife in his back to say something nice about you, Randy Hundley. Did you know
must
that?
have.
Bill Early is out in the mound at this hour. He comes on to the bottom half of the 7th inning. His ball club's in a 3-3 tie. Let's take a look at that motion.
Bill Early is what you call a crafty left-hander. Fastball and has good command of it. Curveball, slider, screwball, changeup, and even tries to throw a knuckleball once in a while.
Anything to cross a guy up, right?
That's exactly right. Not overpowering, but he always keeps you off balance, and I tell you, he's a battler on that mound. Type of guy that you want on your ball club.
Batter up, the left-hander coming on, Bill Early. Top of the order, Billy Hatcher. Strike 1. 27 batters faced by Jose Guzman. 6 full innings work. Gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. Walked 2 and struck out 3. Now Bill Early coming on for his 21st mound appearance. And he has Billy Hatcher in the hole, no balls, 2 strikes. Early is 2-0. And he has 7 saves. Shot in the bullpen. And a new cut of wood now for Billy Hatcher. Early with an ERA of 2.88. One of the big reasons Bill Early is, along with right-hander Dale Mahorchik, coming out of the bullpen, of this 89ers team got out of the gates in such a hurry.
You've got to have that good relief pitching. Guys coming out of the bullpen, doing the job for him.
Billy Hatcher has his 3rd hit of the night. He leads it off in the bottom half of the 7th with a soft single to left.
I wonder if he's going to throw that helmet now. Billy Early making a good pitch, curveball on the outside part of the plate. Billy Hatcher trying to fight it off and gets a base hit into left field. It's a big base hit, I might add, because it leads the inning off and is the going-ahead run in the ballgame.
Now we might see the stolen base attempt. And Dave Owen flip-flops to the right side of the plate, facing the left-hander Early. From the left side of the plate, he was 1 for 3 with an RBI double in the 5th inning, and he scored.
I would look for Dave to bunt in this situation all the way, maybe even with 2 strikes, because he's got to get Billy Hatcher to second base. I don't think you will see him try to steal second with nobody out, and especially with Bill Early in a good move on the mound.
Lets it go by, and now a ball and a strike. We'll tell you again that the runner at first, Billy Hatcher, leads the league in stolen bases, 15 in 23 attempts. Early delivers on at first. Bill is in his 6th season of American Association Baseball. His stops have been in Wichita, Des Moines, and now Oklahoma City. Strike 2 to the batter. Ricky Wright. The left-hander is out on the mound in the bullpen, right field corner, just in case.
I managed against Ricky Wright in Double-A ball in the Texas League, and that young fellow has a fine arm.
A look at Hatcher on first, and dueling against him is Bill Early. Nobody has ever accused Bill Early of working fast on the mound. Underneath it is George Wright. Bowen comes around on it. And Early, a kind of guy who takes his time on the mound, has one out on the board with a runner at first. And that is the tie-breaking runner, Billy Hatcher. What's he saying?
Well, he's going to have Billy Hatcher try to steal second at some point. I think I saw him just flash, if you get a jump, go.
Gillespie comes to the right side of the plate from the left side. He picked up a hit. Backed an RBI single back in the 2-run 5th inning for these Iowa Cubs.
When I said that I thought I saw him flash, if you get a jump, go, I didn't see it in the signs. I saw him at the last second flash an open hand, and normally that's what that means. Now, what that's saying is it is left up to Billy Hatcher. He doesn't have to steal on the pitch unless he gets a good jump.
Pitch out, and Bill Early, Gino Petrelli in the battery, figuring on the same thing. Here's the 1-1, and it's high again on the pitch out.
I think that's a bad call, and I'll tell you why. Because Bill Early has an excellent move to first base. He has Billy Hatcher going back towards the base anyway.
And you see, with the league lead in stolen bases, not only that, he turns an 0-1 count into a whoop, the pitch to first. On to second. It snaps him out. Looking for number 76 was Billy Hatcher, and he's now 15 in 24 attempts. Tag goes down. Kunkel 1-3 to 6. And that's that good left-hander motion.
That's it. The catcher has to depend on the pitcher to help him out in that situation. And I didn't like the first pitch out was okay, but the second one I didn't agree with.
Now with 2 away. Fly ball will end it in the 7th inning. Minimum of 3 against Bill Early. And in the inning, no runs. 1 base hit, now 8 in the ball game. There were no runners left out and no errors. Those are the numbers. 3-3 ball game. The 89ers and the Cubs. We move to the 8th. So we saw the chess game in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 0-1 to the batter. That being Gillespie. And on a pair of pitch outs, and then the next pitch after that, they got him. The lean on to first, and he was just leaning the wrong way.
Costly mistake on the part of Billy Hatcher. He led off the inning, the go-ahead run, and gets picked off at first base. On the other hand, you got to try it. It always looks bad when you don't succeed. Now that he got thrown out,
yep.
You know, it really looks worse than it really was.
Well, you'd rather go down trying to commit rather than Obed, I guess.
I had any day.
Here's George Wright. He homered from the left side last night, went long past the scoreboard. And he homers tonight back in the third inning, his 6th of the year.
We just got a score in on the Cubs-Cardinal game. It's 1-1 going into the bottom of the 8th inning, Mike.
Another tight one. Cubs trying to snap out of that 10-game losing streak. And the Cardinals getting a taste of the good life up at the top of the standings.
They've been playing exciting baseball.
Right now, a ball and 2 strikes.
I really enjoyed watching them play 2 games down in St. Louis this week. And I tell you, as a fan, when you go and watch them play, you had better keep your eyes on the field, because if you don't, you're going to miss something.
Right-hander Ken Price with the 1-2. We mentioned again that Wright from the left side got the homer last night. From the right side tonight, he gets the homer. And that made it a 3-0 ball game, with the Cubs were working uphill. Eventually tying it in the bottom half of the 6th. We're on in the 8th in a 3-3 ball game. Couldn't get a glove on it. It'll go for the single. His 3rd hit of the night, George Wright.
I can't believe he's still hitting .220. I've seen him the last 2 nights, and I know that he's had 7 hits in the last 2 nights.
Last 4 innings, the lead batter has gotten on for the Oklahoma City 89ers. Petrelli with the double in the 5th. Wright with the single in the 6th. The triple to Kunkel in the 7th. And Wright again here in the 8th. He goes up the middle. And it is the 5th time in 8 innings the lead batter gets on.
That's saying something, though, for both ball clubs.
Indeed it is.
In that both offensively and defensively, they're not allowing that lead runner to score. Let's see if they have Kennedy bunting in this situation.
Indeed they do. Up for it, Valdez. The runner advances. And just barely, Chucky Kennedy on the sacrifice bunt is out, number 1. And now the tie-breaking run with 1 away is at second. George Wright. Rubel, the batter.
Another situation that we might look for here, and that is George Wright trying to steal third base in order to get in scoring position.
First baseman Mike Rubel.
Wright, by the way, in the stolen base department, is 1 of 2 in 1985. And in a total of 25 ball games. Now is 26. They'll put him on to set up the force out at both 3rd and 2nd. And a long ball hitter to the plate. And the strategy here is to get at Jeff Kunkel. This will be the 3rd walk given up by Ken Price. The 2nd intentional walk out of 3. So let's see how this strategy stacks up. And you see Mr. Oliver in the 3rd base box, and here now comes Larry Cox. He's had the right-hander Gumpert going in the bullpen. What's he telling him, Randy?
I'm not sure, other than the fact that he is going to bring Gumpert into the ball game, and he's just telling him that he wants to get a double play in this situation. He has been getting the ball up to the hitters, and you cannot pitch up and get a double play. So he is going to make the pitching change here and hopefully get the double play that he's been looking for.
Indeed he is. The 3rd pitcher to go for the Cubs will be the 2nd right-hander, and it's Dave Gumpert. And that's it for Price, who leads with runners out at 1st and 2nd. And he faces a total of 3 batters here in the 8th inning, and a total of 9 since coming on in the 7th for the starter, Steve Engel. And the runners on, of course, belong to him. So in 9 batters faced in 1 1/3 innings, he gives up a couple base hits, no runs thus far, walking 3, striking out 1. We know from letters we receive from viewers that you enjoy the high school, college, and professional sporting events you see on Iowa Public Television. There are 40,000 Iowans who show their support for sports programming, plus cultural events, documentaries about Iowans, and other types of programs. They are friends of Iowa Public Television, and you can join this group. If you aren't a member of Friends, send your check for as little as $20 per year to Friends of Iowa Public Television. Post Office Box 1758, Des Moines, Iowa 50306. Every month you'll receive a complete program guide, and you'll also show how much you appreciate your Iowa Public Television.
That's a great investment for $20. The programs that they have, the young men that we saw playing softball, the sporting life that is going to be shown on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I think that the programming has been outstanding on Iowa Public TV.
Here's a look at Dave Gumpert, right-hander. You see the numbers at 2-0. His ERA at 3.16. And Gumpert with a strikeout ratio of 24 Ks and 37 innings worked.
Not bad. Wow.
He let go of the bat, and it helicopters down the third base line, in fact, into the dugout.
That ball just missed Larry Cox standing in the dugout.
Now, whose bat do you think they gave him as they returned it out of the dugout? Huh?
They gave him that bat back.
Runners at first and second with 1 away. Up, he's going to get another bat anywho.
What happened is when that bat ricocheted in the dugout, I think it probably chipped the handle on it, and it feels very uncomfortable to him, so he's going to go get a new bat.
Kunkel, the batter.
Of course, maybe some of the guys in the dugout spiked it a few times before they gave it back.
Lather it up with some tobacco juice, maybe, huh?
I did that. I didn't do it, but Darrell Thomas was switch hitting, and he threw the bat back on me one day in San Diego, and I just picked the bat up and broke it right on home plate. And I was hot at that time, hitting wise, and I come up the next inning and I hit a ball off the left field wall, and Kendall picks my bat, my good bat up, I might add,
your gamer,
and breaks it over the home plate and says, "There, take that."
It's the last time you pulled that, I bet.
Well, I wasn't smart enough to take an old bad bat, knowing that he's going to break my bat also. And he rightfully so. He broke my bat, because I would have certainly done the same thing.
Hey, what's fair is fair, right?
That's right. But I'm sure they damaged Kunkel's bat up when it was laying on the floor in the dugout.
High and ball 1.
Bill Hayes making a good play on that pitch, keeping those runners in a double play situation.
Runner at second base with the leadoff single. Here's George Wright. He was sacrificed to second, and the intentional walk to Mike Rubel. And now Kunkel, a ball and 2 strikes. Playable down the right field line.
Might be, nope. I was going to say there's going to be trouble, but Mark Gillespie gets over, makes the catch on the fly ball, and makes a strong throw into third base to Julio Valdez. When the ball first went off the bat, I thought that Dave Owen and Dave Hostetler were going to have trouble catching the ball. But Mark Gillespie came a long way from right field, had no problem catching the pop-up.
Here's Jim Mailer. Drove in the first run of the ball game back in the second inning. He brought on Chucky Kennedy. In that situation, Randy, the player that's fronting the ball, the player who is fronting the ball, generally has the call, but it was his all the way, deep enough down the line.
That's right. He had by far the best angle on the ball. This play might be trouble.
Hey, gets the runner. Gumpert had to wait for it. Went high in the air on the bat of Jim Mailer. Smacked it to the turf and had to wait a couple heartbeats for it to come down. Randy, let's take a look.
I think all of the fans thought it was a pop-up and that Gumpert had caught the ball, but the ball hit off of the plate high into the air, and Dave Gumpert waiting a long time for the ball to come down and is able to get Mailer at first base. It was not as close as I thought it would be. As we look at some of the Oriole Little Leaguers that are here at the ball at Little Leaguers night here at Sick Taylor Stadium.
So 2 batters go to the plate against Gumpert, 5 in the inning. Nothing across, and now a 3-3 ball game. We move to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And Bill Early, left-hander, will be facing the threesome of Hostetler, Lombarski, and Dunston. Hey, we got a few Yankee fans, but they aren't smart enough to turn the pennant the right side up, I'm afraid. That's one of George Steinbrenner's boys down there. Huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you what, if George Steinbrenner were to see that with the pennant upside down, he would be very upset about it.
7,206. That brings our total for the year to
George Steinbrenner is very sensitive to things that go on with that Yankee logo.
Oh, yeah.
And he wants everything to be just perfect all of the time. And I guess when you're the owner of the ball club, you can be that way. And there's nothing wrong with it. I tell you what, he demands a lot and gets a lot from all of the people in his organization.
What amazes me about George Steinbrenner is he doesn't mind being identified as the eastbound end of a westbound horse. Doesn't bother him at all.
Not one bit.
He's his own guy.
And if you had as much money as he does,
that's right,
it wouldn't bother you either.
Who's counting? Hostetler to lead it off, then Lombarski and Dunston.
Hostetler trying to end the ball game with that swing there, or get out in front of the ball game anyway. And Bill Early laughing at him inside.
Former Iowa Cub out in the mound. Deep to center field. That's right. Goodbye. Homer of the year for Dave Hostetler.
Boy, he had a good swing at that pitch. That ball was right down in the middle. Bill Early making a mistake on him. I didn't know if the ball was going to get up over the fence in center field, just enough to clear it for a home run, and the Cubs go out in front 4-3.
First lead for the Iowa Cubs, and coming back on a 3-0 deficit, the Cubs. It's now a 4-3 ball game, one away, bottom half of the 8th inning. And Hostetler punches one out of here. Hostetler, by the way, with 13 homers, has 6 for the Indianapolis Indians, and now 7 for the Iowa Cubs. What a stop. The ball is bobbled. And the runner is safe. It's a base hit. 2nd of the inning, 10th of the ball game. Let's watch this beautiful stop and great recovery.
You will not see a better play at any level. AAA, big leagues. I don't care where you watch baseball, you'll never see a better play than Mike Gershley just made at second base. It's too bad that Rubel bobbled the ball a little bit at first base. He had to dig the ball out of the dirt. But I'll tell you what, that's a big league play all of the way.
Dunston with the bunt. Tries to get out of the way again. And on the sacrifice bunt, the runner advances.
Did you notice how Dunston ran the ball out that time when he bunted it? As soon as he bunted the ball, he's running all the way. Whereas he did not do it the last time he had a sacrifice, and he could have beat the ball out for a base hit. Again running out of the baseline, trying to avoid the tag.
Well, the Cubs now with 10 hits on the board, a 1-run lead, and some frosting on the cake is out at second base. That's Tom Lombarski with a single in the infield. The sacrifice bunt advances him, and now Bill Hayes to the plate. And Dunston with that homer and now ranks second in the league, tied with Wade Rowden and Cal Daniels, both of the Denver Zephyrs, behind front-running Andres Galarraga with 16. And there's Davey Oliver.
Dave Oliver is stalling for time. Petraglia out talking to Bill Early. As we have a right-hander in the bullpen for the 89ers getting ready to come into the ball game. I thought maybe Oliver was going to bring the right-hander in to pitch to Bill Hayes in this situation, but he's going to continue with Bill Early.
Bill singled back in the 6th inning.
These two guys here are great friends. They've been battery mates for a number of years. They were roommates on the road a few times. It's going to be interesting here. Bill Hayes stepping into that pitch like as if to say, go ahead, Earls, throw it up here. You couldn't hurt me if you hit me.
When Early pitched in Wichita for the Cubs system, he was called upon just about every night. You know that short porch at Wichita measures on it about 285, maybe 290. And with all the left-handed batters in this league, he was called on in short relief, in long relief. And if you got time, you get a chance to be a starter. But he's been a reliever for the past 3.5 seasons. And that'll be ball 3.
He's trying not to give in to Bill Hayes in this situation because he does have first base open. And if they walk him, that's okay because it sets up the double play situation.
One away with a runner at second, a run across. The Cubs lead at 4-3, trying to fatten up that lead, and there's the automatic. Strike one.
Well, I don't mean to be second-guessing Larry Cox, but I don't know that I wouldn't let Bill Hayes hit in that situation. 3 balls, no strikes. If he's going to throw a strike, it's going to be right down the middle, and it's a good pitch to hit.
With one away, that's the call. Now 3 balls and 1 strike. Lombarski, the runner at second. Lead-off homer in the inning. Hostetler.
Got some fireworks going on not far from the ballpark.
Ah, yes. Oohing and eyeing. The festival. Perhaps celebrating Dave Hostetler's 13th homer. Runner advancing. They got him hung up. Buechele makes the tag. 6-5 is the putout. Buechele made the right move for this reason. Should the tag have taken any longer, the batter Hayes could have advanced to second. And so he decides to keep the rundown going in his corner. And that holds Hayes at first.
I'm sorry, Mike.
He about got away from him, though.
You're exactly right. And the point that I was going to make is that you do not continue to fake a throw. You run the guy hard and give the guy to the... He should have been giving the ball to Jershely, the second baseman that was standing close to the bag.
There's that souvenir.
Lombarski made a bad play on that situation because he is in the scoring position. He has to make sure that the ball gets through the infield, and it was really the only play that Kunkel had was going to third base with the ball as Lombarski was trying to advance.
No balls and 1 strike. Valdez, the batter. The runner at first is Hayes. 2 away with a run across. Let's credit these Iowa Cubs in front of 8,000 or thereabouts, actually 7,206. This club could have folded the Tints, going down 3-0 early on in this game. But fighting and kicking and scratching their way back into the ball game, the Cubs now leading at 4-3.
I see a lot of encouraging signs with the ball club. They've been struggling all year, but they've played very well defensively and have been swinging the bats much better tonight. Even the fans are getting into the ball game.
Valdez the batter. And that'll be strike 3. One after the 0-2 pitch, and the runner dies at first. 1 run, 2 base hits. 1 runner is left on. That'll be 4 stranded in the ball game for the Cubs. There were no errors. We're 8 full. We're on to the 9th. Fireworks here at the ball yard. Sec Taylor Stadium, 4-3. The Cubs leading the 89ers. Hey, Ma, look what I got. A souvenir goes up for grabs at the ball yard. Sec Taylor Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. What a happy youngster.
He really is, isn't he? He's proud of that baseball.
4-3 ball game. Cubs 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. The 89ers 3 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. The Cubs battle back from a 3-zip deficit. And a shot of the skyline as the fireworks are underway for the Two Rivers Festival. And somebody getting rid of their tobacco down the first base line. Batter up. Cubs are 3 outs away from putting the lid on this one. Switch hitting catcher Gino Petrelli. Mike Jerschley, and then Bob Brower against Dave Gumpert, who's working on his 5th save of the year, and there is strike 1.
It's interesting, Larry Cox doesn't have anybody warming up in the bullpen in case Gumpert gets in trouble.
Gumpert on the 1-out stand. 1 down and 2 to go. I want to tell you, these youngsters are into this ball game.
They really are. And they have seen a very good ball game. In the beginning, we hoped that we would see a game like this and the kids could see a well-played game. And they have, they've gotten their money's worth tonight.
Batter up. Here's Mike Jerschley. And strike 1. Cubs tomorrow up against these 89ers to close down the 5-game run. Cubs about, or hoping to, tie the series at 2-2. And again, we'll mention that the 89ers have been a tough team for the Cubs to dispose of, winning 2 in 11 starts against the front runners in the Western Division. And it'll be out of play down the right field line. We'll have a pinch hitter coming on to bat for Brower, apparently at the top of the order. Willie Darkus in the on-deck circle.
I know, Mike, earlier it sounded like I had a paid political announcement about the program on Iowa Public TV. But, you know, between innings when they're showing the promo on the music machine, as Jerschley takes a 3rd call strike, and that is a big out.
Indeed it is.
And he still doesn't want to leave home plate yet. So he's questioning the call.
Either that or the parentage of Mike Feld, home plate umpire.
No, he can't do that. If he did, he is gone. But I was
he
just
might suggest. And now Larry Cox might make the move here with Darkus coming on. I don't think so. I think Dave's had a handle on this game.
He's just going out to go over him because he has not been playing in the game. They may not be as familiar with him as they are with the players, the guys that are playing regularly, as we see some more fireworks exploding over the river. But I tell you what, these fans get to see a Super Bowl game and some nice fireworks. My man Gene Oliver sent me a note, getting on me about losing my hair, the way I'm dressed.
Oh, I tell you.
It's a good thing he's not here. We'd have to get a wide-angle lens to get that rascal on.
Hey, it's outside at Ballwood. Gene Oliver checking in from the Quad Cities tonight.
The Beefalo knows that I still love him. No matter how much I get on him, he knows I still love him.
Here's the 1-0 coming. Darkus on as a pinch hitter. 2 down and 1 to go. We're in the top of the 9th. 4-3 ball game. Cubs coming back to work uphill on a 3-run deficit. The homer by Hostetler makes it 4-3. And that's where we are right here. The 2-0 pitch, Darkus.
Well, I tell you, it's not a good sign to get behind on a pinch hitter. 3-0 with 2 outs. In the bottom of the 9th inning with a 1-run lead, he's got to go after that hitter and try to keep him off base.
Steve Buechele, the on-deck hitter. Darkus, the batter. And now the count goes full. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Can you imagine going behind that plate being a catcher without a mask?
No, sir.
I know it sounds stupid, right? But I'm telling you something, those masks take a beating. I've thought about it a few times. It's a good thing somebody invented that baby.
There was a time when they weren't worn, you know.
That's right. That's the point I'm making. I guess that's why they call it the tools of ignorance, because you'd really have to be dumb to go back there without one.
Pinch hitting for Bob Brower in the 9th inning. The 3-2 pitch coming. Hey, the ball game's over. Dave Gumpert gets a 3-up, 3-down inning. And that's the name of that tune. The strikeout to Darkus will end it. And the Iowa Cubs have beaten the Oklahoma City 89ers. 4th place beats 1st place. The final score 4-3. Iowa with 4 runs, 10 base hits, no errors. Oklahoma City 3 runs, 9 base hits, and 1 error. The game-winning RBI will go to Dave Hostetler. Leading off the lower end of the 8th inning, his 13th homer of the year. And the winning pitcher in this one will be Dave Gumpert. He goes to 3-0. The losing pitcher to Bill Early, who goes to 2-1. He picks up his first loss of the year. The attendance tonight in front of a Little League crowd, 7,206. And Randy, we served up a dandy tonight.
We really did, Mike. It was a very well played ball game, and both clubs played extremely well, and I think the fans got their money's worth tonight.
Indeed they did. And Randy, I want to thank you once again for helping out in this broadcast. That wasn't a political statement that you made, because you yourself are a part of the programming here at Iowa Public Television. I want to thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Mike. It's always good being with you and the good people with Iowa Public TV.
So the Cubs win it by a final score of 4-3, much to the delight of everyone on hand here at Sec Taylor Stadium. And the Iowa Cubs do indeed win it to close down. Well, tomorrow the stand will be closed down. The 5th game of 5 between the Iowa Cubs and the Oklahoma City 89ers. Be sure to stay tuned to Iowa Public Television, as tonight we'll bring you Laurel and Hardy in the film Our Relations, followed by The Human Face of Japan and Rambling 3. And remember to join us for our next live telecast on Saturday, July 13th at 7:30 p.m. as the Iowa Cubs play host to the Buffalo Bison. And now for Randy Hundley, I'm Mike Newell saying good night for Iowa Public Television.